So guys, if you're watching this video, you probably just heard about Battlefield Portal, right? Or maybe you've even seen the trailer. This is the new mode that Ripple Effect has been developing for Battlefield 2042, and man, is this one something else. So guys, this is BillyEatWorld again, and let's check it out. Alright guys, how you going? Welcome to the video, and like I said today, we're taking a look at Battlefield Portal, and we're going to take a look at some footage of that in just a sec as well. And like I said, this is one of the 3 new modes for Battlefield 2042, and this one is being developed by Ripple Effect Studios, that you guys probably know better as DICE LA. Now, like I said, the trailer has just come out, so I'll leave a link to that down in the description. But what I want to do with this video today is break down some of the key points we just saw, because, well, to say this is going to be big is a bit of an understatement. This is probably the most important announcement we've had in the franchise for a long, long time. Now, if you haven't already heard about this one yet, well, in a nutshell, it's less of a new mode and more of a platform that's going to allow us to create new experiences. Because basically, it's pretty much custom games, but on steroids. Really, Ripple Effect are literally giving us the tools to design our own game modes. Except the kicker is, this is not just going to be limited to the content from the base game, it's also going to have access to classic maps as well. And not just that, but it's going to have classic factions, and for the first time in history, we're going to be able to mix eras. That's just absolutely insane. I never thought I'd see this. So how does it all work then? Well, at this point, we know the devs aren't going to allow full-blown modding in Battlefield games anymore, and so what this is kind of them meeting us halfway. They've stopped short of giving us a full-blown editor, but what they are basically giving us is a set of visual scripting tools that will allow us to create entirely new game modes. Now, if you haven't already figured it out yet, this is going to be a lot more than just custom server rules. You're going to be able to set up logic blocks that trigger things to happen when certain conditions are met. And if you know anything about designing game modes, you'll know that this really is the fundamental thing that you really need to be able to create anything remotely unique. Also, like I said before, we're going to be able to design modes using not just content from the base game, but also from the selection of previous titles that they're giving us. And so far, it looks like we're going to have access to assets from Battlefield 3, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and here's the big surprise, Battlefield 1942. What does that actually mean though? Well, to be clear, we're going to get 6 classic maps and 7 classic factions, as well as more than 40 weapons and 40 vehicles to suit. And you'll be able to combine them in whatever way that you want, as well as with the 7 maps and all of the other assets from Battlefield 2042. Now, with that being said, let's dig in a little bit more into the sort of things that you will be able to do in the builder, because it's actually pretty complicated. And look, here is just a list of some of the things that we've been told about already, but the first thing you're going to notice is that all of the pretty standard server config options are all here. But like I said, what we haven't seen before is the ability to mix factions or the ability to restrict things like aim down sights, for example. And just as an example of how crazy this can actually get, you can even restrict things by side or even by class. So if you really hate prone MG players, you can set up a rule that prevents them from going prone in the first place. Now, earlier on in the week, I got a chance to see what the builder looks like, but unfortunately I can't actually show you what it looks like in-game yet. Maybe it was shown in today's EA Play stream, I don't know, I'm actually recording this beforehand, but if not, what I can tell you is that the builder is going to be a web-based app. Also, another thing I can tell you is that after you've created a game mode, you can actually share that preset with other players, and apparently the devs are also going to feature some of the more popular community modes as well. And if you're interested in how the hell they're going to balance all of this, well, apparently it's going to be balanced based on 2042's mechanics, but you will be able to configure tuning presets to make your modes feel more like the previous games. So that's what Battlefield Portal is, but the question is, why do we actually need it now? And this is really the most important point that I want to cover in this video, because I'm guessing most of you guys are going to have a different answer to that question. The problem with Battlefield at the moment is that over the last few years, we've had probably the biggest identity shift the franchise has ever seen. And we're now at a point in time where there's literally tens of millions of players, and it's hard to find two people that can actually agree on what Battlefield is supposed to be. And just on that same note, if you look at the response to the announcement of the base game, you'll notice most people were excited, but quite a few people were annoyed at the addition of certain new features. For example, for me personally, I'm not anywhere near as excited about this game as I would have been if it was just a follow-up to Battlefield 4. I generally actually don't like futuristic shooters. Also, I know a lot of people have been really annoyed about the addition of bots or the changes to the class system and probably 100 other things that I'm missing as well. And so that's where Battlefield Portal comes in. If you don't like the stock game, well, theoretically, you don't have to play it. You can use this builder to design your own. Now, with that being said, as good as that sounds on paper, I don't want to finish this video without going over a few things that I'm worried about. And first up is the fact that this obviously isn't a remaster of these old games. What it is a reimagining of just one small snapshot of what these games used to be. Just because we're going to be getting old maps and assets doesn't necessarily mean they're going to feel the same way as they did back then. Like, obviously, the Battlefield 1942 stuff is probably going to feel more like Battlefield 5. And in fact, I'm pretty certain that's where the assets are going to be coming from. Also, it doesn't really look like we're going to be seeing anything from the more recent Battlefield games, but I guess there's always the chance that that will get added later. And that kind of brings me to another point, which is that this all just assumes that Battlefield Portal is going to be supported in the future, which is something the devs didn't want to talk about just yet. Because, I mean, if you look at Battlefield 5 Firestorm, well, it was a really cool concept, right? Super ambitious, but it just never had the ongoing support that it needed to succeed. And I think I kind of put Battlefield Portal into the same category. It looks really good at face value, but if it doesn't get more classic content added over time, it could very well end up like Firestorm and just completely lose relevance altogether. But anyway, just before we get out of here, I probably should point out that Battlefield Portal is going to be free for everyone that does own Battlefield 2042. And as far as I know, it's not going to need its own client or anything like that either. It'll just be built into the base game. Also, here's something else. The servers apparently are going to be based on the EA Cloud Server network, so it shouldn't cost you anything to set up one of these custom games. And the good news is console players are going to be able to jump in on this one as well. As far as I know, you're going to be able to create your own game modes on the PC-based tool and use them on a console. So anyway, to finish up, like I said, on balance, I'm pretty keen for Battlefield Portal, and I guess it's made me a lot more keen for 2042 in general. But you know, they say once burned, twice shy, so maybe we'll have to come back in about 6 months or so and see if this actually turned out to be as game-changing as it could be. But look, I've got to say, if you're going to give credit to the devs for anything after this announcement, it's that they're actually thinking about the whole community with this feature. I don't think this is going to repair Battlefield's identity issue, but you've got to admit, this is a pretty damn good band-aid. But anyway, guys, that just about wraps it up for this video. And as always, please let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And just remember that I can't possibly cover every little detail about these announcements in one video. So if you think I've left anything out, put it down below so that everyone else can take a look. As always, though, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and check out the links on screen now and in the description if you want to take a look at any more of my videos. And don't forget, you can find my Twitter and Discord links down there as well if you want to keep in touch. And until next time, see you later, and have a good one.